back with our high school series.
Yeah.
Today we are going to be talking all about boys. We're going to look at some pros to waiting to date boys.
Yeah, and one of them would be protecting your heart, because if you get in a relationship when you're not ready for it and you're not grown enough for that relationship, like even if it's when you're young, you think, oh, like I really love this guy and I think I'm gonna marry him or whatever, or like, you know, if you're just looking for a boy for whatever reason and you get in a relationship, like that can definitely bruise you and have an effect on you even later on in life, and even when you're older, like our age, if you do that, it will lead to heartbreak, and by not dating, you're protecting yourself.
And waiting gives you time to grow as a person into a place where you're ready for a relationship, because at the place you're at now, maybe you haven't experienced what you need to experience to be able to be committed in a relationship. So it's just really important to focus on your personal growth rather than getting a boyfriend.
Another thing, well, a reason to wait would be that God will tell you when it's right, and I think that when you wait, you kind of strengthen your relationship with Him. And I don't even like calling it waiting, because what are you waiting for? Like, you have God already.
Yeah.
He's really all you need. But if you feel like God is like calling you to be in a relationship and have a husband and like, you know, be in that covenant with Him, then it's really a lot better to just wait, supposedly, and just wait for His time.
And another reason, Chloe kind of talked about, like, just dating will lead you to heartbreak. And yeah, just dating for the purpose of dating and having a boyfriend is just gonna, it's not for the right reason, and it's just gonna end in your pain and the other person's pain too. You want to save their heart too.
Yeah.
There is a lot of ways to be happy single, so we are going to talk about them.
So the first tip to being happy single is trusting in God's timing.
Another tip that we have is just not to chase guys, because it's actually biblical that men are the pursuers, and a lot of people think, oh, that's just old-fashioned, we don't have to do that anymore. But like, I think that that's a really important part of a relationship, and that's sort of, I believe, that's like the man's job to pursue you. So if you're chasing after guys, it's just not going to go well for you, and it's not going to make you happy.
Another tip would be enjoying the free time that you have. Enjoy the time that you have for yourself, because you know, when you get in a relationship, you are going to be having to think about two people instead of just you.
And another thing is that you can just have a lot more fun with your friends, because you don't have to worry about spending time with your boyfriend. You can just focus on your friends and like building your relationship with them. And I think a lot of times people tend to neglect their friendships for boys, and just enjoy your time with your friends while you have it, because soon you're going to be married with a family, if that's what God wants for your life, and then you're not going to have time for your friends, or you'll have a job and you'll be working a lot and you won't just have the time to hang out like you did when you were a teenager.
And saying that, going into the next point would be to be okay with just being friends with guys, because, you know, I mean, it's not like a right to be married or to have a relationship like that. It isn't a right. It's not something that God wants everyone to have. And I think that not a lot of people like understand that or know that, like that it's not something that for everyone. There are people who are called to singleness, and that's okay. And it's just important that you are okay with having boys as friends, but nothing more. Because if that's the way your life is supposed to go, then you're going to have to deal with it for a very long time.
Yeah. The last way that we've kind of thought of to a way to be happy is just to rest in the relief that it's in God's hands. And that was, for me, a really cool revelation. Like, as soon as I realized God is taking control of my future relationships, and He knows whether I'm going to get married or be single, and He knows who the right guy is for me if there is one, and stuff like that. And it's just really, that gave me such a sense of relief when I finally realized that, because it made me realize I don't have to do anything except for grow personally and grow in my spiritual life. And God will do the rest for me. He'll bring the right man into my life if that's His desire, or He will give me a sense that maybe singleness is what is right for me. So just once you kind of take that truth and really believe it, then you're going to be so much happier, because you're not going to be stressing about, oh, I need to find my husband, because if I don't like look for him, he's never gonna come. That's not true. He's gonna come. God's gonna bring him into your life if that's what's meant to be.
Yeah, I think that it's so crazy because like the world today is always like, oh, like girls like pursue a man, like it's okay for you to go after him, it's okay to be obsessive and
Yeah.
all of that, and like God just wants the complete opposite, and that's why I think it's so hard for so many people, especially like young women and young men, to be like, oh, like okay, but like mostly young women because
Yeah.
we are not the pursuers. But I think that's why it's so difficult for us to be like, we have to just leave it to God, like what?
Yeah.
Why is that okay?
Yeah.
But it really is so much better if you do that.
And we are going to talk about why modest is hottest. And we thought this kind of related to the guy category. That's why we're putting it in here. And yes, modest is hottest is a pretty cheesy line, but it's so true.
Dressing inappropriately is not the way to get a man's attention. If you are, like, you shouldn't even be looking for a man. So if that is what you're doing and you're dressing a certain way to find a man who is going to be like all over you and he's going to want you, like first of all, no. You're not going to attract a man who is worth marrying by doing that.
Exactly.
You're not going to attract a godly man by doing that. So just first of all, cut that out if that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
And just try not to get that type of attention because it's not appropriate.
Another thing that we want to talk about with modesty is that you may think that how you dress just affects you and it's your body and you know you can do what you want because it's only going to affect you and like I don't care how if it's bad or whatever, but it doesn't just affect you. It can affect everyone around you. Mostly I would say with other guys, and it can cause them to think things about you that they're not wanting to even have those thoughts, but you're putting them into their head by being provocative, I think. And like, I'm not saying that it's your fault if guys are thinking lustful things about you, but you can prevent it and help them not have lustful desires by dressing modestly and not giving them a reason to think those things.
And on top of that, it can give you a really bad image. And I'm not saying like be like all up and like consumed by how you were seen, but I think it's appropriate to understand that there is a way that you're being viewed, and it can be in a good light or it can be in a bad light. And if you're not dressing modestly, it's probably not going to be in a good light, and that will give you like a bad reputation, and that's not something that I don't think people would want.
Okay, so that basically sums up our boys category of the high school series.
Yeah.
So we hope you enjoyed it. And our next video is going to sort of wrap up the high school series, and we're going to be talking about what to do after high school and different options that you have. So stay tuned for that.
Yep. See ya.
Bye!